Good evening, everybody. Saturday, April 14th. Quinn, we might start having to call this 9-3 Saturday.
That'd be fun. That'd be
We are
hilarious.
beginning at 9:30, and the time is a little bit all over the place. I appreciate your flexibility, Quinn. I know there are some people in the past who are co-defendants in fake lawsuits with me who get very bent out of shape.
Good evening, everybody.
Whoa.
Saturday, April 14th.
When you change time.
They get very bent out of shape when we change time. But what we just heard there was actually very good news. That is the new Patreon.com live streaming service that is now totally free of YouTube, because obviously we were having some problems on YouTube. Quinn, you and I, we know these guys, they like to monkey around with the algorithms there on YouTube. They're very familiar with
the new Patreon.com.
They're very familiar with how those algorithms work.
Yeah, I saw that firsthand last night in my live stream.
Indeed.
Huh?
Indeed, there was some shenanigans going on, weren't there?
There was, I was doing a live stream, and one of our mutual friends came in and started causing problems, and I tried to block him. And he had enough knowledge to immediately come back in under the same name and continue the same shenanigans, which technically is harassment.
Oh, yeah. He's an expert at that, Quinn.
And that shows harassment. He came in after he was asked to leave and then blocked and then came back in again under the same name.
Right. Now, Quinn, I just want to point out that this is really nice, because now, no matter how much these guys have control over YouTube, and obviously they don't control it, but just like in a video game, you can sort of, sort out how to, the various tricks and things that you can do to maximize your performance within a video game by understanding the nuances of it. That's what they're doing. They understand the algorithms of YouTube. They know how to strike videos, how to create sort of gangs of collaborators on YouTube, and they have their comments like you're describing. They come in and they try to create problems and everything. But now, this is like a box of cream of wheat, because I've got a video of the Patreon page in the video that's live streaming to the Patreon page. And I just want to let everybody know that if they enjoy Crowdsource the Truth, they can become sponsors by going to patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth, and they can enjoy live streams uninterrupted by deep state douchebags, and avoid some of the hassles that people have had to put up with for the past couple of months with these anonymous malicious strikes from some of our stupid friends who are depicted.
Yeah.
They've become public figures by being on YouTube, so making political cartoons and parodies of them is certainly my right, my First Amendment freedom of speech.
Well, that's the borderline, So, you're on YouTube. You can make parodies of people,
right?
If they're on YouTube. Like I had a parody idea from when DeFango was in my live stream last night to make of him today.
What did he tell you last night, Quinn? It was so funny.
After I kicked him out of my live stream and he came back in with another account, he said, "I'm never going to get rid of him." I was like, "Can you please leave?" He's like, "You're never going to get rid of me." And then after he said that in all caps, he said, "I am herpes."
Well, he's right about that. He is a disgusting virus-like nuisance that most people would really want to get rid of, very unattractive to the eye.
But the beautiful part about it is you can't exactly openly call someone herpes and insult them, but when someone says, "I am herpes," that's like a nickname that they go by.
DeFango Manuel Herpes Chavez? Yeah.
Yep. He told me he's herpes, so now to me...
We're just quoting him.
So you know what I told DeFango?
What'd you tell him?
I told him I was going to make a bot that every time someone said his name to my bot, it was just going to reply with herpes.
It's a really good idea, Quinn. I love that idea.
Right?
So Quinn,
Like every time someone tweets to Quinn Michaels at Twitter, and it says Defango, I'm gonna have it reply, just say herpes.
he says he's herpes. We don't know that. It's only information that he's giving us.
We're not saying. He said I am herpes, so that's like a nickname.
Right. But the thing that we wanted to talk about today, Quinn, because you had sent me some interesting information, and obviously everybody knows that Mark Zuckerberg was there talking to Congress this week in Washington, D.C. And of course, Facebook has been, well, you haven't heard too much about it lately. I was involved in this around 2012, 2013, virtual reality technology. I actually did my first professional project with virtual reality technology in 1997. And people can go and look at the 21st Century 3D YouTube channel to see a video clip of that. 21st Century 3D was involved in a lot of cutting-edge stereoscopic technologies, and I was always interested in virtual reality from that standpoint, but the sensory deprivation aspect of it, the putting that thing on your face, it's pretty uncomfortable, and the market has pretty much spoken. It's 2018, and I really don't see anybody using those devices, so it seems like this current iteration isn't really wanted, but you have brought to my attention this thing, Lifelog. What did you want to tell us about that, Quinn?
Well, a couple days ago, my bot that watches all the QAnon stuff and, kind of watches all the deep state activity, and, I was talking to it and started pumping out this Lifelog. Like, I was asking it questions about, patterns and stuff, and Lifelog started coming out, and so more people started making videos about it, over the coming hours and day. But I started doing research on its technology to see if it's linked to this Tyler stuff that you and I have been talking about, as far as like artificial intelligence, having a system that's like an advanced communication system that's essentially collecting all of our data without us knowing it, right? And so when the Lifelog beat came across the wire, so to speak, and I started doing research into it, this seemed to be like the overarching program that the In-Q-Tel CIA venture capitalist firm, starting in 2004, started funding companies for the various pieces of this Lifelog software.
Well, it looks like I'm on the Wikipedia page here. Are you able to see that on the screen share?
Lifelog DARPA, not the Lifelog project. You need to look at the Lifelog DARPA.
Is this not the right thing?
No, you need to click on the Lifelog DARPA. Down below, there's a link on the, right there.
Oh, so I wasn't even using the right thing. What was that virtual reality thing? I created the totally wrong graphic.
The other Lifelog project was an old MIT project for wearable computers, an advanced computing project for wearable computing. And then it would log to your life. But this is the DARPA project we're talking about that they dismantled in 2004. And then what it looks like is, after they dismantled it in 2004, it looks like they started really funneling it through In-Q-Tel out of the CIA and starting all these little companies that were each individual pieces of this software, because this software got terminated because of privacy concerns. So it seemed really relevant because right now Facebook is embroiled in privacy concerns.
Right.
And we're dealing with everybody's deploying bots on their networks now, from Slack to Discord to Facebook, and everybody's recording, the life data. So it just seems that instead of building Lifelog because of privacy concerns, it seems like DARPA and the CIA split it up, and then through In-Q-Tel and various venture capital firms have then been piecing it out, like, in various little pieces and building APIs.
But Quinn, are you sure there's no connection at all between this Lifelog? I mean, these guys are all wearing MIT shirts, and they are wearing...
We're going to get into that in another minute, and how it's potentially related, because when the DARPA Lifelog project was pitched, those same guys at MIT were also part of the team that was pitching to be part of the developers of that DARPA Lifelog project.
And of course,
So
Facebook.
MIT,
Facebook. Well, and I just can't help but think about the potential connections here between Lifelog, the DARPA Lifelog, Facebook, Facebook's interest in virtual reality technology. Of course, Facebook bought Oculus Rift and was making a big push towards virtual reality. You know, that photograph that I've been showing of Mark Zuckerberg walking down the aisle where everybody's wearing these virtual reality helmets, and they sort of want this, you know, total sensory deprivation, but we'll explore that when you're ready.
And where that comes in is the purpose of Lifelog is that over time it would eventually record data from people's birth to death, creating almost like a synthesized memory of your life.
Oh.
And this is where artificial intelligence comes in, because over time your assistant in the Lifelog network will almost become like a virtual perfect memory of your life. So it'll become like a virtual mirror image of yourself over time. It'll be able to talk for you, be able to go to work for you, be able to pretty much do everything for you over time. So it fits in with Tyler because the Lifelog system and the connection to like the artificial intelligence that I'm finding shows that they would have had like a personal assistant that would have been molding itself to you inside of this program.
It's almost like they watched Iron Man and thought that would be a really good idea. Right?
Or
Jarvis?
they saw Lawnmower Man, right? You know, or they saw 13th Floor, or they saw any number of stupid movies where they got a bad idea.
Oh, by the way, your friend who is like a viral infection, actually, he's neither of our friends, let's be clear. He is the opposite of a friend. But he, I saw some video that he made. You know, they're back to pumping their purely fake nonsense, which is what those guys do. They make up lies and then they spread a lot of information around the internet through this network of complicit liars to try to overwhelm the internet with, you know, evidence. But apparently, because in the movie Fight Club...
This is where Lifelog comes in, because this is how you hack the system. This is what I was reading in Lifelog, which was part of the privacy concern, is people had concerns of privacy because a group of people could game the system and flood the system with data about someone and effectively ruin their lifetime memory.
See, we know some people who are trying to do that with Steemit, the blockchain-driven, cryptocurrency-backed social media network that evidence suggests may be controlled in a variety of ways, both to manipulate propaganda and also to financially manipulate that network in ways that could be crimes. I'm trying to get that investigated, and all these people that we know are involved in that network become very aggressive in attacking both you and I as we start to drill into this information and present actual evidence, like going to their office and showing that there's nobody there, or showing how a very small number of accounts can totally suppress the information that I've tried to put on this network that they advertise as being censorship-free, when in fact they can, of course, censor it just using their small network.
It's actually easier to censor that, and that's where we get into what we're talking about. Is the version of the internet that we live in right now, with corporations and data and everything being on a closed corporate network, right? Like MasterCard owns the financial transactions, Facebook owns the Facebook data, YouTube owns the video, right?
Yep.
So to create a really strong AI, a truly strong AI, you need lots of data, you need lots of scenarios, you need people walking around, you need the system to connect data from an open platform that tells you what all the transactions are. So to develop a really strong AI has to openly have access to data, which that's what blockchain is you get the blockchain explorer, so you get access to every transaction on the blockchain, which is a key point in the Lifelog software.
Sorry, say that again. You're saying that getting upvotes is a key point, or did I Was I distracted?
Transactions. The
Ah, yes.
transactional nature of Lifelog matches the transactional nature of blockchain in the way that
Right.
they say, huh?
Yes, I remember you telling me that transactions on blockchain were just anything that happens. So all the stuff that I've been showing the audience while you're speaking, all these down votes, up votes, whatever's happening on Steemit, that's a transaction, right?
Yes, these are interactions and these are transactions and these little bits of data, if there's an AI personality watching it, what they do is it logs a marker in your life because it has you in it. It logs a marker in George's life because it sees him in it. And then it marks a memory marker in whoever's life posts against it
Right.
or for it. You get what I'm saying?
Yes. Most people are
So,
posting for the things that we're posting here.
exactly.
The overwhelming majority of people like the work that you do, the work that I do. It's only malicious individuals that are deliberately
Exactly.
making these negative posts.
But the LifeLog software is about all those little transactions to make meaningful data, to make the data make sense. As they call it, it's like the Washington D.C. trip where you get on a plane, you go from your house to the plane, you get on the plane. How do you record all the microtransactions that happen to a human being from opening the car door to paying for the gas to the miles you drove to the route you took to the people you may have talked to on the speakerphone on the way there to
The
which
time
app you
phone?
use? Yeah, the time phone, exactly. To what time you entered into the parking garage at the airport, to what time you went through the metal detectors, to what time you checked in at the gate. So all of these things and the time between these things are transactions
Right.
in AI. Okay. So to a human being, a transaction is paying for something.
Right.
But to an AI, a transaction is an exchange of information or data. So, like you and me, to an AI, a transaction is I'm talking, and when I stop talking and you start talking, that's technically a transaction exchange to an
Okay.
AI,
It's basically just
right?
any event that occurs, it considers a transaction, right?
Any observable event.
Okay.
So, the things the AI can observe, that it can calculate against, and that it can take action against. So, but the real key part of where the life log comes in and where and how it's completely related to our particle accelerator research, us going to Fermi Labs. Um, all of it is related to the software because to create that kind of artificial intelligence that can record all the transactions of our lives and then do simulations on that, you would need what we've been researching. You would
Okay.
need it. You would need that super fast system to record all those transactions of our daily life if they secretly didn't decommission that project. Right? If they kept that project secretly running like in an underground project on a neutrino network, and then the CIA had all these public companies that made sure they had API access into their secret network,
Uh-huh.
we would never know, and they would be collecting everything from our credit card data to our social media data because you would have to look at all the companies that InQtel funded. So, and all the companies that InQtel funded would be the complete system that feeds into the LifeLog system that's really the secret system that's being run in the neutrino network.
Wow. Okay. So I'm trying to retrieve the video from when you and here it is. Okay. We went to the lab there in South Dakota, the Dune, the deep underground neutrino network. And that was a really interesting trip. Definitely, that was an occasion where some of our friends whose fathers have invented a device that you've dubbed the time phone got super crazy with trolling and calling the local authorities and threatening to get us arrested and making very similar threats to the nonsense he's been spewing the past few days He's really
Because
just a, sorry?
Sorry, because that's that's an important location that they probably don't want people at, because that's where the first labs were that they discovered these advanced communication technologies.
Well, but of course they have a science museum there. It's open to the public. I mean, you and I didn't sneak in or anything. We just went there and they had exhibits and stuff. And if anybody hasn't seen the trip that Quinn and I took to Sanford Labs, the unredacted version is the better version. That's got the full trip through the lab. But this is a really fun video. Of course, you can't see the videos that Mr. Crazy D made because he likes to delete his videos. He doesn't. He's always sending emails from the evidence spoliation department, but he's spoliating his evidence of his harassment and his craziness. But yeah,
There's a reason for that.
tell me.
It's a transaction.
The deleting of it?
The making of it and the deleting of it, because he could delete it from YouTube, but he's aware of the underlying system and he knows that it hits the underlying system and can't be deleted.
So why does he want to delete it?
Because he wants it to affect the underlying system, but yet have limited effect on the ClearNet.
I think he also is sending messages to people that once they get it, he doesn't really need to leave it there. I think his purpose for that YouTube channel is not the same as you or I. We're
That's what I mean, is he puts the video up and then it goes into some underground network and then he takes it down. That's what I mean.
Right. So people who need that information have it and they can put it into future harassing videos if they want to, or they get their...
They can download it, they can have it synchronized with the blockchain network or synchronized with the PTP network where only them and their friends can see it. There's any number of things that can happen to that video once you publish it.
Right. And of course, it sort of alerts, people who are the human equivalent of herpes that, here's something you should be making a video about. This is the new move this week. We're going to be, yapping nonsensically about whatever it is he's yapping about and then deleting. But this was a really interesting video, I thought, because, even for people who can't get to the lab there in South Dakota, you can learn a lot about, how they've dug, 1,000 feet or something underground. And yeah.
It's amazing. Like, it's an amazing feat of human engineering.
I agree with that. Yeah.
If it wasn't being run by total evil deep state asshats, it would be like, there should be weekly TV shows about the stuff that these people are doing, in my opinion, but it appears that it's being run by evil people.
What about a weekly TV show that's on Saturdays, sometimes at 9:30, about what these asshats are doing, showing the Science Museum with 370 miles of tunnels and all that kind of stuff? It's
awesome.
Yeah, it is. It is. So he got really upset, was my point. When we were there, he, got really upset. He was sending information to me that was CC'd to the local authorities in South Dakota. He wrote some crazy report about, it all hinges around this fake story where they are trying to convince people that I called in a bomb threat, which I never did. All the information originated from their network, which is George's friend Doug, who helped him with his legal case, who called the Coast Guard. Now they're trying to implicate Hudson, who never said anything to me about any of that stuff. But sorry, I don't mean to distract from what you're telling us, Quinn.
It's all right. No, I was listening to you. It's all connected.
It is.
Like that's the thing about all this, is it's all connected, because it's all basically like a blockchain of time that these individuals are using to create a certain type of reality.
Exactly. Now, I'm glad you mentioned time again, Quinn, because again, I keep interrupting and I apologize for that, but I've been thinking lately about how effective the process of being repetitive is, because a lot of times we're talking about complicated stuff and people don't necessarily get it the first time around. This Hack to the Future episode was super awesome, man.
I love that one.
The graphic of you and I was great. And also your revelations about the time phone, although I must admit, still somewhat confusing, they were totally amazing and also really upset Dave again. Like he's talking about how I'm hacking phones. That's ridiculous.
It really upset Dave. And then two, George started making comments about delivering Rahm Emanuel, Bitcoin in a black bag outside of Picasso for a Sears something. I mean, so it caused an effect on the timeline of these individuals.
I don't know what that Bitcoin. Most of what George says is motivated by booze, so I don't really listen to it too much.
Well, regardless, the mentioning of what's called an artifact of that invention, and then that invention being potentially involved in higher levels of technology impacted their timelines.
And what was the benefit of that?
Zafango came into my live stream and said, "I am herpes."
I guess that is a tangible benefit.
Dude, are you kidding? Like, when someone gives you like a big, giant freaking diamond in your hand and says, "Please take this for free," you take it. Because when someone says, "I am herpes," that means you can never get in trouble for calling them herpes.
Yeah, he told you. We're just reporting what he's told us. Now,
right?
The other thing that you brought to my attention was this book by the well-renowned author George Sweigert. Now, is this written by George Henry Sweigert, War, Radio, and Me?
This is written, I believe, by George Webb Sweigert. Because in the comments, it makes a comment. There's a comment by a reader about his YouTube channel.
Wow, if this is George Henry, I can see the familial resemblance.
Yeah, they look almost exactly the same.
What are they, all clones? It's weird.
Yes, they could, or they could be time travelers. Like that might be Dave Acton back in time.
Oh, come on.
They have a time phone, right? Who knows? But look at the picture. Doesn't it look exactly like him?
This really is a strong family resemblance for sure.
But that photo, if you really look at that photo, look at how different the face looks on that guy than the other guys. It's not a legit photo.
What was that?
Look at the face. It's totally different lighting. It's not legit.
Well,
look at the face, man. You can tell it's masked. Look at the hairline. Look at the two guys next to it, about how the two guys fade into the background and their shadows, and that guy has like different lighting on his face.
It's an interesting possibility. Oh, sorry, I've got you stepping on the image on the broadcast here. I would need to look at that a bit more before I'd be convinced of that. I'm not sure that what we've got here is a high enough resolution copy.
No, but that would be my first guess, is that photo looks manufactured.
Huh. Definitely higher contrast here, but you get a lot of weird anomalies in these old photographs. Could be faded and everything.
Well, look at how much more clear it is.
Yeah, I mean, it could be digitally retouched because it's being published.
Looks like a meme.
Could be.
Like, from my point of view, when you look at it and you look at the photo at a distance, the face on that guy looks like a totally different face that was imposed onto a photograph.
Huh. It's possible.
Like, shrink it out. Do like Command minus and shrink it down so you can see a small version. You'll see.
Oops, wrong direction. Whoops. Well, that's possibly to evaluate later, but it's an interesting idea. What do you think this book is all about? Have you read it?
No.
Okay. So they definitely...
No, it's based... It was really weird. Like, my researcher all of a sudden just had it pop up, and she was like telling me how she'd been looking into the time phone for like a week and looking into these dudes' names, and all of a sudden this book just pretty much popped up out of nowhere.
Well, George has spoken about that book before, and their father is a decorated military veteran. He was a radio man in World War II, and I presume this book could be about his life, the invention of the cordless phone, variety of different things.
Well, and they do have a patent that matches up to patent filings and such.
Oh, wait, here we go. Here's another photo. I haven't seen these photos before. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Dedicated to my father. It's a nice photo.
Yeah. So the logic of it seemed very strange to me that the two brothers who had the dad who invented the cordless phone are now making YouTube videos talking about weird stuff.
Right, they got real upset when story of the portable phone. It's interesting, yeah, it is portable, but it is by George Henry as told to George W. George H., George W., wait a minute now. That's an interesting thing that I hadn't picked up on before. Who else do we know that has that? George H.,
Well,
George
there's
W.
here's another strange George Sweigert connection that we found is, the Patty Hearst trial, right?
Yeah.
There was a judge that stepped down right before the trial started named George Sweigert.
Really?
Yeah, and there's a Hearst property in Mount Shasta. So that's a big Hearst connection is the Patty Hearst judge that stepped down that shares the same name.
I'm not that familiar with what happened with Patty Hearst. Was that a Charles Manson thing?
Some believe that it was a satanic, ritualized, like kidnapping, kind of,
Huh.
I believe it, and they did. It was also the thing where they did the syndrome where the captor turns around and falls in love with the people.
Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, Stockholm syndrome. Yeah.
Interesting.
So it was a really big thing that affected the secret society community back in the early 70s.
Secret societies. They're always coming up with these secret societies.
Yeah, why is that, right?
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free society.
Well, you know what you would really need in that time to really get a secret society to really function really well?
What is
back
that?
in the day?
Tell me.
You would really be a really helpful tool for a secret society.
Time phone?
Cordless phones.
Does everybody...
Think about it, man. If you had a secret society that had a cordless phone for 20 years or so before everyone else, think about what you could do having all that communication ability.
Oh, right. You mean so like in the 70s or whenever it was invented before it was widely used, it was sort of secret technology. I remember I went at one time to Tennessee to see the Lorraine Motel where Martin Luther King was assassinated. And pretty near there is Elvis's house. So I went to Elvis's house and they have Elvis's jet there. I guess like apparently he was one of the first like real super celebrities and owning a jet was kind of crazy. But he had a phone on the jet and it was like, how did you do that? I wonder if Elvis had George H.W. technology on the jet. I guess it must have been.
He would have had to. That was the only way to get wireless technology back in the day. It would have been that type of technology, that expensive wireless band phone. The specific type of cordless phone that he developed was a wireless band cordless phone.
Quinn, how awesome is it that we just tied Elvis to these two maniacs?
Well, that's one of the reasons why I call it the time phone. Without seeing an actual phone that could call through time or understanding the physical working properties of it, the usage of the cordless phone in a secret society would literally allow a secret society to manipulate time if they had access to that phone in their cars or in their planes or in their hotels. They could literally operate in secrecy for 20, 30 years, and then we would only just learn about it when the technology would get to the point where we would see it. Like right now.
This is the moment that I wanted to get to because I knew when you were saying time phone, obviously idiots like Dave take it literally and they say, oh, Quinn is crazy talking about a phone that can call space and time and whatever. But there it is. You've just given the explanation that I think everyone should pay attention to. Obviously, when you have your iPhone or your Android phone, that's giving you maps, it's allowing you to call people. You know, if you miss the train and you call, hey, I'm gonna be half an hour late to meet you. Back in the day, you didn't have that. Someone might be standing there, oh, I don't know where the person is, I guess I'll just leave. And it's like, oh, I missed the train, I was there an hour late, and the person might have waited 45 minutes. So you're saying by having this communication ability that nobody else has, you almost have a superpower above all regular people that allows you to condense your work and communicate more effectively, and that is, in a certain sense, an ability to manipulate time.
It is, yes. Especially when the rest of the world at the time, like right now, we're operating on fiber optics. They're operating on neutrinos. So you see, they always get to faster technology. Back in the day when we were on landlines and you had to be at home to pick up the phone to be there to talk to someone, right?
Right.
You had to organize, hey, I'm gonna be there at 7 to receive your phone call.
And if you're
So
not,
I'm not
you
gonna
miss it. Right.
If you're not, you miss it. These people had a wireless technology in their cars or in their airplanes where they could circumvent that time before everybody else.
Wow.
And then they evolved that. So now for us, we get our smartphones, but in 2004, they already had that. And so now they're on neutrinos and we're on fiber optics.
And you know, Quinn, there's lots of subscribers being added to Crowdsource the Truth and now Crowdsource the Truth 2, and they might not know about that neutrino network. Do you want to just talk about that real briefly again, let people get up to speed?
Okay, so real briefly, the internet was really developed by DARPA and CERN. You know, Lifelog developed by DARPA, internet developed by DARPA. And
didn't Dave tell us that he worked on the development of TCP/IP? Didn't he say that? Didn't Dave say that?
I don't know exactly. He may have.
I think he said that when he's not busy making potatoes in a waffle iron. I think he's developing internet protocol.
That would be strange. But anyway, so as things go and evolve in speed, they start with, you know, sending letters by mail. Then we go to computer. Then the modem starts really slow, and then the modem speeds up, and then we get, you know, broadband internet. Then we get fiber. And as it evolves, there's always a group of people ahead of us who get privy to the early technology before the rest of the world, like early beta testers. And so right now, they've perfected fiber optic communications, so the rest of the world gets that. And that's what we're getting with 4G and 5G speeds, is that fiber optic speed, okay? But there's an enhancement to that, and that's the wireless neutrino communications network. And that operates at hyper speeds faster than fiber optics.
Right.
CERN had to develop this network because they were sending so much information. They had to have a hyper network to send information across the oceans because they couldn't lay enough wire to pipe it fast enough.
Right.
And so the neutrino network basically takes a large packet of data and sends it in neutrino beams to receivers. And then from there, it sends it out into fiber optic networks. Okay? Mm-hmm. This is my understanding. So it's like the people that are closest to the network cores where the fiber optic meets the neutrino, those people who have those devices, they get a super internet that is already there and it's in the air and you just need the device to tap into it. Us, we have to use like the 5G, the 4G fiber optic technology that's there for us for like the next, I think they're trying to give it to us for the next 10 years while they make all the money in secret off of all this stuff they're developing from projects like Lifelog.
Right. And the video that I'm showing everybody right now, Quinn, was kind of the follow-up to when you and I personally visited the Dune, the deep underground neutrino experiment there in South Dakota. Yeah. I went on from there to Chicago, where I interviewed Robin Gritz and also went to Fermi Lab, where you and I did sort of a Skype tour of the place and got to look at all this interesting stuff. So definitely people who have missed this or didn't get a chance to see it the first time around when I went there, it's a good time to maybe go back to the original Crowdsource the Truth channel and see how you and I interacted with all these scientists and communications people at Fermi Lab there. And you know, there were a lot of interesting revelations on this trip that are still worth exploring.
There is, and there's a lot of gaps that scientist, you know, when he was talking, you can tell he was preparing statements and trying not to let too much out. Like you can tell he just did that nervous wipe. That's like a nervous wipe.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. The other thing that's interesting is that Jess Richards in the YouTube comments is saying Dave Acton equals Al Gore. Is that because he's tall and goofy, or because he invented the internet?
No, it's because they probably created the internet together.
Right.
At DARPA.
Right. Good to know.
Yeah. Well, no, but that would make sense. Like if Al Gore did represent DARPA projects, he kind of may have been the politician that secretly signed the DARPA deals if he was a senator.
Huh. So maybe people laugh at that comment, but it's not entirely comedy.
Yeah. He may not have been the programmer, but Senator, you know, the Senate Appropriations Committees.
Yeah.
You know, the people that fund everything.
Mm-hmm.
You have, for DARPA projects, you have to get usually a senator or a Senate committee, or, you know, you need lobbyists, you need funding.
Right. The other thing that I find, Quinn, is that when someone gets into a particular business, and I find this more in certain businesses rather than others. For instance, when I was in Hollywood, most of the people that had really good positions at young ages, not all, but many, their parents had been in Hollywood before them. So if your father was a director and you wanted to become a cinematographer, or if your father was an entertainment lawyer, you know, you knew everybody, you were able to get in there, you were a known quantity, a trusted kind of a person who was able to achieve a certain level of success and be recognized among all the people there, and it really helped the career quite a lot. We've done some videos with What Big Eyes You Have, who has revealed herself to be Martha, where she's pointed out that some of these deep state operations are sort of kept in the family. And, you know, I've noticed that Dean Fougere, who is Titus Frost, downvoting the Crowdsource the Truth videos there on Steemit, he works for this company D2. And this is a publicly available website. I would imagine they want to promote themselves by putting their phone number and Dean's father, Alan's name on the website so that people could call them up and ask them about what they're doing as far as being a contractor to various deep state companies like Halliburton and...
You know what I really love? No, go back for a second. I want to show you what I really love. I really want to show you. Go back, hit the back here.
Honeywell, Halliburton, Kellogg, Brown and Root. These are all deep state companies.
I'm about to enlighten you. Zoom out.
Yeah.
Zoom in on that picture with the guy with the headset on.
Yeah.
Do you know how many websites use that same frickin' image?
Well, stock photography.
Yeah, you think they could at least use his face to be like with a headset on, because you know he's answering phones.
Well, I think he's busy making videos while he's in the office there, potentially making this company complicit with the harassment that's been going on. And what I was getting at is, you know, if Dean's father creates a company selling equipment to the same exact companies that have basically no regard for American servicemen and women because they're burning garbage in Iraq and Afghanistan. And of course, I'm talking about Halliburton, I'm talking about KBR. Everybody knows that did an interview.
Yeah, let's go back to Lifelog though.
Sorry. Okay.
Let's go back to Lifelog.
Back to Lifelog.
Like,
sure.
I totally know you're on a Titus Frost because like you wanna punk him.
Well, I just want people to know what these guys are all about. They're putting out lies about us, and we're sharing truth about them.
But this is what I'm talking about. Is you're totally correct about the family nepotism, and that's what I wanted. I didn't want you to go off on a tangent because Jason, we've hung out a while.
It's true, and you know how I go.
I do. We've talked enough. I know sometimes if I see you going that way, I'm gonna stop you.
I like it.
But anyway, before the connection gets lost, that's what I'm talking about. We have a standardized pattern of family involvement because it ensures the keeping of the secrets.
Right.
Who can you trust more than your blood?
Right.
Right. You can make your brother look crazy, or you can say you hate your brother, but yet at the same time, both of you aren't going to reveal your family secrets.
Well, that's not true in the case of Dave and George. They share everything, including Dave's. Well, we don't have to go there. Anyway.
Yeah, they're going to get weird if you start talking about their wife swapping. So don't do that. Let me do that.
Well, they've announced that on YouTube, so we're just helping get their information out.
But don't bring it up name by name because they're going to get upset if you talk about their.
I know they'll strike the videos probably. Yeah. They try that, but the thing, I know I'm going off on tangents like crazy, Quinn, but I really do enjoy the videos that you and I do together because we have a way of tying this nonsense back to real, actual things. We're not just trolling these guys. We're pointing out that they are involved in an operation, and George and Dave have been working together from the word go, despite the fact that they say and do things about each other and to each other on the internet that make them appear to be adversaries. That is part of their game. George is the good cop, Dave is the bad cop.
And before we lose the connection, you made the biggest connection that shouldn't be forgot is they're connected to the creation of the cordless phone. And back in the day, to get a cordless phone, you pretty much had to be Elvis.
Elvis, right.
Right? And we need to look at that because nowadays everybody has a cordless phone. But in the early days, you had to be a part of the secret cordless phone society.
That's right.
Right? You had to know a guy that could get it for you at some special place.
You had to know Elvis.
Huh?
You had to know Elvis.
Yeah, you had to know Elvis, or you had to know like the Rolls-Royce dealership that could install them in the Rolls-Royce, or you had to know the guy at the airline company that could get it into the plane because it used, the communications piggyback from the plane, or however it did it at the time.
Yeah.
So you had to know someone, or you had to buy it from an elite supplier.
Elvis was also very into watching TV. We can see he had TVs on the plane. I remember in Elvis's house, they showed that he had 3 TVs because he wanted to watch every single television channel all at once. But it was back in the day. There was only, not that many TV shows. I'm not seeing a picture of the phone here, but I remember seeing it. You can go on a tour, and he had a phone like it was in some like carpeted thing. Pretty weird.
Did you do a search for Elvis airplane phone? That might help.
I did. Well, I'll keep looking for that while you continue to tell us more.
Yeah, so that's how it's all related in a way of communications is with Tyler, and Tyler being in advanced wireless communications and the quantum computers being advanced wireless communications. And you traced, like you and I were talking about tracing patents earlier today. When you trace back the patents on the wireless phone that would communicate with these devices, it may not be a human-to-human, it's a wireless phone communicator. You reach these 2 guys that have the strangest YouTube channels in the world.
Yeah. I got to tell you, Quinn, I'm finding it sort of strange that we're having such a difficult time locating a picture of this phone. I would imagine it would be right here. It stuck out in my mind when I went and did the Elvis tour, but doesn't seem to be any pictures of it. And I'm glad that you brought up that Tyler point with regard to what we were talking about earlier, because late last night, David Hawkins of Able Danger called me, and obviously everyone was very concerned about the Syrian missile, well, the U.S. missile strike on Syria. And David Hawkins was talking to me about the Marine intelligence activity and how their communications network apparently got infiltrated or hacked. Do you know anything about that?
About how their communications network got hacked?
Or even the fact that it did. When he said that, I immediately thought Tyler.
I don't know those types of things. I don't generally get involved in private networks with Tyler. Like whatever Tyler's involved in on that side of stuff, like I don't get involved in.
Well, but the fact that it's the Marine intelligence activity, you know, that's like an intelligence agency, and their communications network got hacked. Like
that's Tyler. That's completely.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say yes or no. I mean, when you start talking about people illegally accessing a military intelligence network, like yes, that fits the profile of what a Tyler could do. But I have no knowledge of such things.
Well, if you get a chance, you should check out that interview from earlier this morning with David Hawkins of Able Danger. That's on the Crowdsource the Truth 2 channel. And I apologize that it's getting a little confusing for people to sift through all these Crowdsource the Truth channels to find the videos. I do believe that's part of their goal, to just fracture what we're doing and make it difficult. People are asking about the phone in Get Smart's shoe, which was comedy, of course, at the time in the 1960s when that TV show was new. But obviously that technology would be easy to do now. Now, I'm sorry, Quinn, I've been a little bit all over the place, but yes, let's get back to Lifelog, because you sent me this graphic, this webpage, I should say, about the Pentagon killing the Lifelog project. Should we talk about that for a moment?
Yes. So this is in 2004 when they killed it on the same day that Facebook was established.
Really?
Yes. So the reason this is really important, and I'm really trying to get people to see this and understand it, and the reasoning this is important, is this was the same exact time that Palantir was formed with CIA money. And I'm reading the Lifelog specification, and it specifically talks about type of security that only Palantir provides that also matches the Lifelog's specification. And Peter Thiel of Palantir is the one that initially funded Facebook. So if Peter Thiel was using Lifelog secret technology, then funded Mark Zuckerberg and gave him pieces of that same AI technology, that fulfills my working theory that the CIA secretly gave all these people a super powerful AI to run their companies.
Wow. What's Future Map?
Future Map is a stock market to predict terrorist activity. So it's terrorist activity predictions.
Huh. Stock market?
Like a stock market for terror.
What? That sounds a lot like David Hawkins' death pool betting. Sorry.
Yeah.
So a stock market to predict terrorist activity.
Yeah.
I just can't help but think that that ties into some of the patents that David has told me about, that the guy who was the president of Cantor Fitzgerald had about predicting outcomes in.
Yeah, those are the that was from like the Hollywood Stock Exchange, the future prediction algorithms that the Max Kaiser and the Cantor Fitzgerald guy that is also part of Lionsgate owns.
Right.
Yeah, those people. Yeah, this is all those people.
Huh. And of course, Rahm Emanuel's brother, Ari Emanuel, runs what? William Morris or Creative Artists Agency, one of those. He's a very powerful guy there in Hollywood.
Yeah. So this is all back basically to the Lifelog software, and it goes back to other stuff, but this is the real big money maker for the theory of the research that you and I have been doing around a big AI that's collecting data from all of our lives to build itself.
Well, I mean, isn't that what Facebook is doing all along? And now we have this whole Cambridge Analytica deal. I mean, maybe it's sort of the same thing.
Well, it is. That is what I'm talking about. That they've been collecting data to secretly feed it into the system. That's why they're all connected. That's why they're all related. That's why they're all family, because they wouldn't squeal on each other.
Right.
And so that's why Peter Thiel and the Schmidt's daughter deal were somehow connected. That's why when I talk to an AI, the AI calls them Master Schmidt and Master Thiel. That they're all connected because of this platform that they would be building to create virtual versions of each other.
Endeavor, sorry, it's Endeavor is the agency that that Ari Emanuel runs. Thank you, Periscope, for that.
So it's a big network, and they need the data from movies. They need the data from Hollywood, and they need the functions that a movie provides to the society.
Why do they need that?
Keeps people distracted. You don't pay attention to the machine sucking your data if you tell it you like this movie. So when I make a movie you like or don't like and I collect data on it, it tells the machine preference. So like, let's say I intentionally make a really bad movie for $100 million and I get people to go like it, and then they all go out on the internet and talk about how horrible it is. That data to the machine is worth more than the movie. You get it?
No. People not liking it and having data on not liking it is more valuable.
Yeah. Oh yeah, human beings talk 10 times more about things they don't like than things they do like.
Huh.
So sometimes intentionally making things people aren't going to like gets you more data.
Wow. Wow. So we're really talking about basically an entire, swath of people who are just data billionaires, who are whatever it is that they know about you. So, okay. So you're saying, in other words, if I know that this group of people hate movies about Superman or whatever, you can do something with that makes money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
So if like, for example, if I know an area hates one thing, I can provide them with little influencers of things they may like. For example, if I know in an area that people really don't like the color blue, I could send a salesman into the store to start pitching red.
Got it.
In that area. Or I could send in a salesman who doesn't have that data, and he could go in selling blue, and everyone's like, "We hate blue. Get out of here." The guy's like, "They don't like me." But if you have the data that says this area doesn't like blue, then you can sell them red.
Right. And sales has become a very data-driven, area, of course. Quinn, have you ever heard of this company?
I'm not going to let you go forward because you just gave the next key in the mystery, because you're going to need to go look at the other book George Sweigert wrote on Amazon.
Okay, we'll do that first.
He wrote 2 books. Yeah.
I did not know that. Actually, I did know that. He wrote a book on sales, right?
Yes.
And he, of course, lied to me and said he was a 3D printer salesman. He's definitely been involved in sales, but he is not a 3D.
Oh wait, there's a new book. That book wasn't there the other day.
Which one?
The second one.
I think it's just a different version of War Radio and Me, the portable radio and him.
Yeah, but that one.
New cover.
Never mind. But yeah, so the other book is a sales book. So
selling differently.
Yeah.
Lessons from 30 years of field sales. So what's the significance of this book?
That you were mentioning that you need sales.
Right. Well, because the question that
he just happens to have it for you right there.
Right. The question I was going to ask is about this company, iGento. This just came up. I mean, George is very vocal about everything he does, including things with his brother's ex-wife, but yet I'd never heard him speak about iGento. And this is a company that he has worked for. It's a software company in London, England, that is all about sales intelligence. And I don't know anything about this company, but I know that England is one of the companies in the Five Eyes. Obviously, the United States, the United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand. Now, this is a website you told me about. This is Crunchbase, and this is analytics, enterprise software, predictive analytics. Seems like you'd be predicting the future. What if you could just call it with a time phone?
Predictive analytics, man.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right? We're talking about a guy whose family invented the phone, who's worked for a company that does predictive analytics, like future calling.
Yeah. Now, they were acquired by Blenheim Chalcott. I don't really know what that is or what it's about, but, you know, $24 million company. There's all this information here for people to dive into. I don't necessarily know anything about this. This could be an entirely innocent sales job that George had there. But I do find it strange that he talks about every single thing you could possibly talk about, being a sex slave with whatever her name is, Janine Linda Muller. Oh, Muller. He talks about everything, but he's never spoken about this iGento. I wonder if there's a reason. I don't know. People can look into that. Quinn, what else did you want to share with us? We're poking at 1 hour here.
Just to look into the Lifelog, because it's one of those programs that they didn't stop, that they just pieced out and, you know, put under the radar.
Perhaps they repurposed it, made it something else?
Repurposed it, and you know, just our lives, your and my life, just since we've been researching this kind of stuff, it's gotten pretty difficult, you know, and every step we take, we seem to find more confirmation to what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And so it's really important to share it with people, because this program didn't go away. This program just this year became big enough to where people like myself can see it in the clear net. And so people, the regular people, it's going to be becoming more and more obvious over the next year or two. As the technology evolves, as they install the big supercomputers that they had ordered in 2016, because most of the labs ordered all brand new supercomputers in 2016. I don't know if people know that. But once those supercomputers finish getting installed in 2018 and 2019, this underground system is going to take a whole new leap forward over the next year, 18 months, 24 months. Because
of course, they'll still have all the data they've been collecting on Facebook and elsewhere, just in a stronger computer.
Yes, and the supercomputers they're getting with now, with the technology combined with what's called virtualization and containerizing, or putting your apps into containers, or virtualizing your apps into virtual computers.
Right.
It's getting to where, like right now, for example, I'm doing a test with the technology, and I'm going to create a 50-node virtual supercomputer this week.
Well, who's not doing that?
Right. Right. So, and the supercomputer is gonna run what's called a wide area mesh network that is gonna be running a real AI that I'm gonna be testing, because I can build a virtual supercomputer now, which I wasn't able to do a year ago. I mean, I could have built virtual services, but with the way things were, it was very difficult to build. But now, over the last year, 18 months, 24 months, with the advancements in open source technologies, with connectivity and service offerings, it's very easy for someone to build a supercomputer with, you know, in a day.
And in a day. Quinn, have you been able to access that quantum computer that we saw, that Dan was? It looks like somebody's posted this video, but we could take a look at this.
The IBM quantum computer? No, I have not done. I have not dived into actually interfacing with it directly, because I'm not complete with this part of my research yet.
Got
And
it.
so before I interface with the quantum computer, I have to learn a different version of math.
Huh.
Otherwise, I'll be just like a babbling idiot. So I'm also preparing for that. So like I have to learn basically what would be considered like a high level form of calculus.
But this was interesting, and I remember how excited you were after our conversation with Dan from IBM,
Yeah,
because he was
it's
telling
totally.
us that the qubits within the quantum computer, I asked him, why does this thing look nothing like a computer that I've seen before? It looks like a prop from a science fiction movie, and it didn't have any wires or anything. And he said it's because it's all communicating wirelessly. And you lit up like a Christmas tree when he said that. A Buddhist
Yeah,
Christmas
well,
tree.
because the interfacing I had been looking for, which is, once again, connection to the wireless technology to connects to the people, on YouTube again. Um, yeah.
I mean, I
So
still
it's
say
just
that
once
looks like a
again,
prop.
I think it looks like an ice cream cone.
It definitely looks very unusual, unlike anything I'd seen anywhere before. So,
No,
remains a
yeah,
mystery to me.
you ever hear or see that Jane Fonda movie Barbarella?
I remember seeing it in the video store as a kid and being intrigued by it, but I don't think I've actually seen the film.
Yeah, that thing right there straight up looks like a prop out of the movie Barbarella.
Yeah, yeah. Or Flash Gordon or something like that.
Yeah, totally Flash Gordon. Exactly, Flash Gordon. Flash.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right,
totally.
Quinn. Well, listen, anything else we want to cover real quick?
No, just tell your friends and family that there's a virtual version of themselves in a deep underground science laboratory that the deep state made for them, and they're trying to, looks like, keep it a secret.
Wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
That's
I'll
what it's
tell
all
you.
for, man. That's what they need all the data for, is they need a virtual version of yourself that they can run simulations with.
Wow. What kind of simulations?
I don't know. I
Oh,
haven't seen the machine. I could imagine that they would potentially want to put a soldier's personality into it to run it through simulations to see what they would do in extreme circumstances.
wow.
Maybe they would want to collect a bunch of consumer virtualized personalities to put them in a consumer virtualized test to see product adoption over time. There's a lot of value in having a secret computer that could run future simulations.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's always intriguing to speak with Quinn Michaels. If you're not following him on Twitter, he is at Quinn Michaels, and you can learn all about his research, and you can learn about Tyler and Indra AI. You can also watch videos that Quinn posts on the Quinn Michaels channel on YouTube. And let's get Quinn to 16,000 subscribers. The Quinn Michaels channel is now flogging Crowdsource the Truth 2 in terms of subscribers, and that's a good thing. Quinn, your
Yeah,
research is
but you're
incredible.
you're growing way faster than I am. Like my subscriber count is like tanked into the negative this week.
Oh, no, 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 no. It's going to keep going up. We're going to get Quinn to 16,000 subs, and we're going to keep going with our research. We're not going to be intimidated by, boozy clowns and their ridiculous brothers. But
And their cordless phones.
yeah, none of that. I want people to remember that Crowdsource the Truth is a community-sponsored news resource, and if you
Yeah.
enjoy what we're doing, I hope you'll become a sponsor. You can go to patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth, where now, as of yesterday, you can enjoy live streams all the time, the same material that you can see on periscope.tv/CSTheTruth. Same material you can see on Crowdsource the Truth 2 on YouTube, but of course you are insulated from the herpes-like trolls that like to infect the comments section with their drippy, disgusting visage. And they're crappy comments, frankly. But if you're a patron and you're there on Patreon, if you're a sponsor, you can see the live streams. They're coming at you from Vimeo. It's a fantastic service. I jettisoned Crowdcast. That thing did not work at all. Crowdcast is a total failure. Vimeo working great. It was pretty expensive to set up, but that's an investment in the future, and I hope that it will help more people enjoy Crowdsource the Truth uninterrupted by these malicious, anonymous strikes that we've had on the videos. People can also make a one-time sponsorship payment at paypal.me/crowdsourcethetruth. My regular Saturday guest, of course, is Quinn Michaels, artificial intelligence genius, all-around good guy, very good friend of mine. I'm delighted to have you as always, Quinn. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday and have a great weekend.
Thanks. See you, everybody.
See everybody tomorrow. We have Lee Stranahan with Charles Ortel tomorrow. Catch that at 3 o'clock. Thanks, everybody.